is wrong. And the lack of recognition of Israel's right to exist as a Jewish country, this is the core, this is the heart of our conflict. Because the conflict did not start with these 1967 borders occupation. The conflict started about 100 years ago. The occupation only started 50 years ago. And the occupation, the conflict was always about whether Israel or the Jews have a right to be on that piece of land and to have a sovereign state of their own. That was the ultimate dream of the Jewish founders. And today we're talking about a peace agreement, and it's a very one-sided approach to the peace agreement. It's basically what Israel will give and what the Palestinians will take. More land, air, controlled water, etc. If we want this agreement to really mean something, to symbolize the peace between the two nations, if we want it to really become a two-sided agreement, then the Palestinians must be willing to give Israel the only thing they have to give Israel: legitimacy. They have to accept Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. And any peace agreement that will not include that right of the Jews to a state of their own, that will deny the Jews the right of self-determination, cannot be called a peace agreement. And therefore I believe Norway has to put pressure on the Palestinian leadership to continue negotiating and accept the notion that Israel has the right to exist as a nation state of the Jewish people. And the relations between Israel and Norway also have seen an improvement, not just on the political conflict issues, but also when it regards to bilateral issues, what is called normalization of the relations between the countries. I can tell you in the 2 years I've been here, it has been almost a train of visits coming and going from Israel to Norway and from Norway to Israel. I can't even remember how many times Foreign Minister Aide and later Foreign Minister Brenda visited Israel every time before there was the donor countries conference, the AHLC. They were there. We had officials coming from Israel to Norway, and delegations coming from the Ministry of Trade, from the Ministry of Energy in Israel, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel, from the Ministry of Defense, and vice versa. And I will give you a teaser that soon we're going to have a very high-profile Israeli visiting Norway, and you'll hear more about it later this week. And we also see a cooperation between our countries that is increasing, and we see it in, for example, I gave you before the example of the dance project where Israel and Norway invested together in a cultural bid to promote modern dance co-production. And we've also seen it in the research and the other fields of the two countries, in the TV drama, in culture, and in trade. We've seen the number of trade going up, and both countries have a lot to learn, have a lot to work with each other and gain from learning and working with each other, especially in the oil and gas field that we're discovered just lately gas in Israel, and we're working closely with our Norwegian counterparts to try to bring Israeli technology to the oil and gas sector and Norwegian expertise to the Israeli gas sector. So in conclusion, will Norway and Israel realize the potential of cooperation between them? Will Israel finally start being treated as a normal country by the Norwegian public and media and government? Will the anti-Israeli campaign, the boycotts, and the dehumanization of Israel will be put to a stop? Will Norway finally earn the trust of Israelis back? Will Norway become a neutral and fair player in our conflict and in our region again? I believe that if organizations and people that have committed themselves to promoting the relations between the countries will continue their good work, if the new government will remain committed to its promises, then I believe that both our countries can enter a new era of cooperation, of normalization, and I am sure that each and every one of us will gain from this. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.